for the people that couldn't make it. And I'll share my screen again. All right. So like I said, we are here to talk about what's new and awesome in LifterLMS 3.0 and answer your questions. So if you have questions, go ahead and add them to the Q&A. There's also the chat function here on Zoom, but if you can, try to get them into the Q&A. And then raise your hand if you are interested in coming on video or just audio and you know, having a short discussion or question answered live here on this call. So we are in Zoom. So we've talked about how to use Zoom, but what's really interesting about Zoom is that it's a live streaming service. We are connected live right now all around the world, which makes this a very unique thing. And there's a big opportunity with that with online education. So if you are blending in live training, I'd encourage you to look at something like Zoom to make your courses more valuable and more effective. And I think it's also important to note that some of the trends we're noticing on the client services side of what we do at LifterLMS, we've built some custom live streaming solutions for people who are teaching in different ways. And there's just a lot of opportunity with live streaming these days. And if you're on a budget and you're just getting started and you want to integrate live streaming, you can of course do that with an affordable solution that's already built like Zoom, or use something like Facebook Live and YouTube Live and things like that. But just an interesting trend to be aware of and something we've got our eye on for the future. So what's new in LifterLMS 3.0? Some of the biggest things are related to e-commerce, access, and design improvements. And we actually sent you a blog post a couple of weeks ago called Get Ready for LifterLMS 3.0 that had something like 20 of the top new features in it. And there's more. Everywhere I look, I start uncovering, yep, we changed that too. That's right. But it's a major release. And we're going to go over some of those top features in this call right here. So big modifications to e-commerce, access, and design. And towards the end of this presentation, I'm going to talk about where we're going next in the software after this. So all right, I'm going to go ahead and switch over and start sharing a sample website that I've built with LifterLMS 3.0. And I'm just going to walk you real quickly through some of the key features that are there. And I'd also encourage you, when you do get a chance, I mentioned there was the Get Ready for LifterLMS 3.0 blog post from a couple weeks ago. There's also a post we just published a few minutes ago that tells you everything you need to know about the new release and really navigate you on how to update, what your options are, how to get help, and all those things. So be sure to check out that post, the very most recent post, before you start doing things, so you're aware of all the resources and everything that's here to support you. So I'm just going to switch over to this website here, and you can see right away some of the design changes here. We've gone with the more modern flat design, but one of the top requests that we've gotten, and I'm going to open up an incognito window here for testing, is for a better, cleaner, faster one-screen checkout. So we've got that for you. You can see this is a health and fitness course. We've got this new pricing table structure.
Hey, Chris, you're not sharing the screen you're talking about.
Okay. Let's see. Am I back?
There you go. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Thomas. So you can see here I've got a health and fitness course. This particular example is using the LifterLMS Launchpad theme. And as you scroll down, we've added some more author information and things like that. And this is where a lot of the beauty of LifterLMS 3.0 comes in. People reach out to us and they're often trying to do all kinds of different pricing models. And we're going to be releasing some content just to kind of list off all the different ways that people sell access to courses and memberships. But we essentially built an entire engine for you to create any kind of pricing system that you can think of. But first, let me go on over to the one-screen checkout. This is a non-logged in user checking out. I've got the Lifter LMS Stripe plugin installed here, so you can see that we've got the checkout by credit card option here. This is currently in test mode. But everything here is all on one screen. This button wouldn't be here if it wasn't in test mode, and the user would fill this out and click buy now and then move on. You can see here the visual confirmation of which access plan this user chose. We have a more advanced coupon functionality now. We also have the ability to control which fields show up here on the billing information. So you could show more or less. You could have some things required, as you can see by the little red stars, or not. So, and there's really a lot of improvements around this whole system of how you collect information about your users that has also been improved. But just to be clear, this is the much requested one screen checkout that people have asked for. So let me go back to this website here, and now let's look at what creates those pricing tables. Is my screen still coming through well, Thomas? Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Appreciate it. So this is, you can see I'm a logged in user that has completed all of these, and the pricing tables are not showing up because I'm enrolled in this course. But as a WordPress administrator, as I go to the back end, I can see my course builder here, and you can see it. I've got the Lifter LMS ConvertKit extension enabled here, so that's showing up. But down here, we have this area called Access Plans, and this is one of the most beautiful, powerful things in Lifter LMS 3.0. So I'm just going to open one of these up. This is a simple one-time payment. So you can see you can give it a name you want. Pretty much everything is customizable. You can use SKUs, you can change the button text, you can highlight a plan. Remember how there was one plan that was featured that we saw in the pricing table. And then we've also got this no payment required, because a lot of people, it's all about free courses, or some of their courses is free. And you can do your pricing, you can do one-time payment, and really change up the frequency. So if that was every month, it was $99, or every year, you can see how quickly I can come up with any kind of pricing model and have it expire and run out at any time. And now, not to be confused with creating a Lifter LMS membership, I also like to talk about membership in terms of access. So if I wanted to give somebody this access to this course, it costs $99, one-time payment, and I want the user to be automatically removed from the course, but not off of my website. They still have an account after 1 year. I can do that. If I want to make it so that only certain people with certain membership levels could purchase this course or enroll in it for free, I could set that up as well. And then there's also this sale engine over here. And just to look at a more advanced payment plan option, you can see we've highlighted this plan. You can see this is $39 every month for 3 months. The user gets 1 year of access. There's no trial offer, but we could enable a $1 trial for a week. That's a pretty common thing if you're wanting to get people to test out your stuff, but you don't necessarily want a 100% free user on your system and that sort of thing. So you could also do a $0 trial. Or you could have an expensive trial where the first payment is quite large, and then it goes down to a more modest sum on a monthly basis and things like that. So any access plan that you can really think of is totally possible here. And it creates these boxes. You can customize the text. This is an example of how I could get this course if I were to come in through this membership. It's free, but I need to be a member. So I would need to invest in this membership level. And you can see here where we're utilizing the $1 trial option for 1 week in that example. So I think Another thing I'd like to touch on with the Lifter LMS Stripe and the Lifter LMS PayPal functionality. I'm going to hand this over to you, Thomas, I think you can explain it the best. In terms of having your system being aware of a recurring payment, the status of it. Like, tell us about how we've improved the connection between Lifter LMS and those things like Stripe and PayPal. Whereas in the past, we would do recurring payments, but we'd set up the recurring payment and then walk away. So there was no like refund functionality and stuff like that. But how is it more of a two-way conversation now?
Yeah, so previously we had only really interacted with the various gateways at the very beginning of a transaction, like Chris said. So we'd take all the data on the payment plan, the subscription, the one-time payment, whatever. It really wasn't too much of an issue with the one-time payments, but with anything recurring, we would use the Stripe API for creating a subscription within Stripe, or in PayPal they call them billing agreements, and we'd pass that payment on to them. The advantage of that in our minds at the beginning was kind of an oversight and an architectural flaw, but we're thinking we'll let the gateways handle what they do best, and we won't tax your website with managing the payment schedules. But now we've built an engine that maintains all of the payment schedules on your own website, and uses scheduled actions that kind of happen in the background of your website automatically to make all those payments. So if you have a payment scheduled every month your website itself will attempt that charge, so that if the credit card fails, the payment's declined, whatever, you'll know automatically, and it will be automatically removed from the course. And the order, there's a lot of stuff too. Chris hasn't kind of gone over that side. Maybe you're not planning on it, but there's a lot more transparency and information on the order itself too. There's different order statuses. You could see if it's active. If there was a failed payment, you could see all the transactions recorded right in the back end of WordPress. So it just makes it a lot easier for you to maintain, and a lot easier for you to see the current status of any given member in relationship to their, okay, yeah, here Chris is going to bring it up right now, in relationship to their active transactions. So yeah, you'll see right here, this has a log. I don't know if this was a recurring order or a one-time transaction, but you'll see down at the bottom there, every transaction. Okay, so this is a one-time, so there'll only ever be that one transaction there. But if we're looking at any recurring order, there will be multiple transactions there, and then each one of those transactions has the status down at the bottom of the screen there. So a failed transaction would be recorded as such, and then the status of the order would change to failed, and you'll see on the right side in that student enrollment box that would cancel them from the enrollment, so they can no longer access the course until that payment issue is rectified.
Absolutely. That's a great explanation of that. And yeah, just to put it simply, it is way more powerful, and just the options and the fine-tuned controls that you have over your order management and the e-commerce side of things is a huge enhancement to Lifter LMS. And you can even like remove people from a course just right from this screen. You can, jump over and check out how Doctor Who's order is going and where people were last at. So yeah, there's just so much going on there. But also in the note of e-commerce, this launch comes with 3 new products in addition to the new and improved Lifter LMS. So I'm going to start with Lifter LMS PayPal, which is an extension. We've supercharged, as you can see, we completely rewrote how the e-commerce engine of Lifter LMS works and how course access is managed and can be automated. Like, for example, automatically removing the user after a year, or automatically removing the user if a payment fails, and so on. So we've also, in that, we pulled out PayPal and WooCommerce and added to their functionalities and improved the code base and architecture under those. So Lifter LMS PayPal, could you speak to that, Thomas, in terms of what's new in the Lifter LMS PayPal extension?
Yeah, so we've, frankly, there's not a lot new. It's just the existing features we had, but they work a lot better. The primary enhancement though is recurring transactions, which are handled through PayPal has an API called the Reference Transaction API. Basically, that means they give you the customer agrees to billing terms, and then we get a reference ID that we can utilize to make future transactions or future charges with via the website. So by utilizing the PayPal reference transactions, we're able to unify the feature set that you'll have available with Stripe through PayPal. So we have a lot of documentation. Unfortunately, reference transactions are not enabled by default on all PayPal accounts. From what I understand, most newer PayPal accounts, they are, but anybody who's kind of been using WooCommerce subscriptions, for example, with PayPal, they've gone through this process of attempting to get reference transactions enabled. And we've got a guide in our documentation portal at LifterLMS.com/docs on how to get these enabled. There's a link right there that Chris has just highlighted. So if you get this installed, it's a pretty ezy process. You just literally need to call PayPal and say, hey, I want reference transactions, and 24, 48 hours later, they'll have them enabled for you. Yeah, I think that's basically it. I mean, the interface is basically the same, of course, updated via 3.0. You'll also be able to process refunds through PayPal with the click of one button on the WordPress admin panel. A moment ago, Chris had that transactions screen up, and there's like a little refund button. So any transactions processed via PayPal for up to 60 days after the process, you can just click a button, it automatically refunds. So you don't have to then cancel it and go back through PayPal and locate them and all that stuff. So it makes that stuff a little bit easier, more user-friendly. Yeah.
Good deal. And then we've also released a new and improved Lifter LMS WooCommerce integration. So if you are a WooCommerce user, and WooCommerce is a great system because it's very mature. It's been around for quite some time. They have a lot of paid and I believe some free extensions that extend WooCommerce even further. So for example, a common reason that people gravitate to WooCommerce instead of using the native Lifter LMS checkout system and e-commerce system is because they want to accept credit cards, but Stripe does not work in their country. But WooCommerce may have a gateway extension developed that does work in whatever that country is. So then people decide, okay, we'll use the Lifter LMS WooCommerce integration so that we can get the best of both worlds. We can get the payment gateway we want through WooCommerce, but we can get the online course delivery system and the LMS and the membership site functionality from Lifter LMS. So that's what WooCommerce is all about. And essentially, if on a course level, those access plans, if you enable WooCommerce, instead of using that system, you are able to associate a particular course or membership with a WooCommerce product. So that's how the Lifter LMS WooCommerce system works. And it's a little different from how it used to be in that it was SKU or SKU matching. Now it's more a direct connection between a Lifter LMS course, and then you select exactly which WooCommerce product that you have in your system you want that course to be activated by. And then the next one is the Universe Bundle. So in some ways, some parts of Lifter LMS have gotten a little more expensive in that we pulled out PayPal and WooCommerce. It was a tough decision, but we pulled those out into premium add-ons. But some things got less expensive. So in order to get all of our add-ons at once, it was something like an $800 retail value. We've reduced that down to $299 for the Universe Bundle, which gives access to all our products. And if we add another product in the future that we create to the bundle, it'll automatically be added to your bundle account. And we've also, you can also choose if you're already an existing paying customer with an active license and you want to upgrade to the bundle, we will honor your what you have. We will prorate your past purchase history and give you a code so that you can get the bundle at a reduced rate. And also as part of the Lifter LMS launch party week here, which goes from today through Monday night of next week, we're going to have a site-wide 10% discount, so you can lock in your pricing at 10% off for life going forward. So this is a really good time to pick up the Universe bundle. You can get 10% off, and we've also sent a more discount, a coupon out to our Lifter LMS Pro customers, because that's a benefit of the Lifter LMS Pro, to get the extra promotional discounts and such. So let's see. In addition to the new products and the access engine of Lifter LMS 3.0, I just want to touch briefly on the design. You can see how we've gone with a more flat design. Even in the back end, you can see this is a more flat default design. And even in the back end of Lifter LMS, we've improved the design and the user experience of just using the settings and such. But we basically did a design overhaul. It's kind of subtle in that Lifter LMS is a plugin designed to look great and work well with any theme. So the design isn't like very pronounced, but the subtleties of Lifter LMS are there. If you want point and click without needing to know how to code control over how to change design elements and colors and things like that without writing CSS code and modifying things like that, you ought to check out the Lifter LMS Launchpad theme. So if I go over here into my Launchpad settings, there's a new release of Launchpad that's rolling out, which, for example, you have so much control over all kinds of elements and colors and adding content in some key places that a lot of themes don't give you access to. You can modify the way a Lifter LMS course works down to font sizes, colors, different styles and shadows and icons that are used and so on. And you can even pull in the entire, I think it's the entire Google font library, or at least the key fonts here, if you want to start playing around with different fonts in different places. And then you can also see here in the Lifter LMS Launchpad theme, you've got access to the pricing table elements. So the access plan, styling of all that stuff. So just to be clear, that's this area. So if you want to start messing with these pricing tables and make them look a certain way and change the button colors and the featured flag and the color here, you can do all that with the Launchpad theme very easily. So that's really a lightning fast tour of what's going on from what's new in Lifter LMS 3.0. Again, check the blog if you want a more full definition of all the new things in there. And there's also instructions on how to move forward to update everything. And yeah, just check that out at blog.lifterlms.com. And we're going to get into questions in a second. So if you haven't already typed in your questions, go ahead and do that. And I'll be answering some of those. But before we kind of get fully into Q&A, I just want to talk about the future a little bit with you, and that this has been a major push focusing on the e-commerce and the membership and the access pieces of it all. But as you've seen in our recent blog posts, we're turning our focus from here for the future into really focusing in on that learning piece, the learning management system part of it all, in terms of making the software work for you if you're creating effective training, to give you a powerful tool to make your training methods work and back you up from a technology and a tools perspective. So that's what's coming in the future of Lifter LMS. That's where we go from here. And I'm going to just kind of get into some of our questions here. And we'll answer these. And then we'll, if anybody wants to go live, we'll get into that. So Dennis Hall is asking, so if I don't have a paid PayPal account, will it handle the recurring payments? That's a good question. My answer to that is, in some older systems, like over in WooCommerce, you have like free PayPal, then you have PayPal Business, and then they have this Express PayPal. But really, you'll be fine with a free PayPal account with Lifter LMS. You're just going, the way PayPal makes money is they take approximately 3% of the transaction. So you don't need to pay PayPal anything up front to check out in that way. And Dennis, keep hitting the text if you have further questions on that. Ayoka asks, is that box record a manual payment, the one you would click if you're not using the plain Lifter LMS without the e-commerce extensions? Yes. So the manual payment gateway that comes with Lifter LMS, I'm going to show you guys what that looks like on the back end here. So Lifter LMS. So if you go to your checkout options, yeah, we have the Stripe plugin installed, the PayPal plugin installed, and here's the manual system. So these are the settings, and you can write whatever you want here. You can title it whatever you want. We just use the word manual payment to describe what it does. And so somebody could basically check out on your site. It hangs the order up in processing. And then you could send them a FreshBooks invoice. You could send them a link to a WooCommerce digital product. You could send them a PayPal invoice. They could send you a check in the mail. It's basically them saying, I want this, I'm going to give you money. And then it's up to you to send them something. And once you get paid, you just go into the orders part of Lifter LMS, and you can record a manual payment. So that's exactly what you were referencing, Ayoka, there. So let's see, Sue has a question. Are there any smart ways to incorporate external sales pages into your Lifter LMS sales funnel? Yes, there are. The first thing I would try to do is talk you out of doing that and use the Lifter LMS product pages. So if we were to go to a course here, you can see Lifter LMS gives you two description boxes. So you have the enrolled student course description and the non-enrolled student description. So the non-enrolled student description, which is the main text at the top of the course page, or whatever you put there, videos, pictures, and everything, you can make this one more of a sales message. It could have testimonials. It could talk about features and benefits. It could talk about why they should listen to you and all those things. Whereas once a student's enrolled, you don't need to sell to them anymore. You can give them resources and a welcome message, or have more current student focused information in the course description. So there's a lot you could do with this non-enrolled student description from a sales page perspective without using a third-party tool like Lead Pages or ClickFunnels or building a custom page. But you can absolutely do that. If you want to build your own sales page, you could. That's another way to use the Lifter LMS manual payment gateway. Or you could sell through another system and then deliver them a voucher code. Lifter LMS has a complete voucher system. So if you haven't seen how that works in the demo, go ahead and check that out as well. And you can see here in my sample page here that this URL at the top of my screen, if I want to put a buy now button on an external sales page and link it to this checkout, I could do that. So you have all kinds of different options to sell in a lot of different ways and have a complex or a simple sales funnel. But we're really prepared at Lifter LMS to help you and meet you wherever you are with those requirements. So let's see. Ted asks, any plans to integrate with other email programs like Aweber? It's not our immediate focus. I will say, if you've looked at WP Fusion, they recently released Lifter LMS compatibility, which connects Lifter LMS to ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, Entreport, and Drip. Aweber wasn't on that list. We have MailChimp and ConvertKit currently in-house, but Aweber is not a top priority for us on the horizon. That being said, There are also other development communities and agencies out there who are wanting or already or have built products that work with Lifter LMS. So perhaps somebody, if it's a really hot thing, would take advantage and create Aweber integration. Or you might ask Jack over at WP Fusion if he would consider adding Aweber compatibility to his thing. Just an idea there, but thanks for the question, Ted. Clifton asks, if I use WooCommerce, does that mean that I will be using WooCommerce membership and subscription capabilities instead of Lifter LMS? And the answer to that is no. It's really easy to get confused, and I understand why, because there's so many different marketing messages and promises out there, and software's lingo and marketing funnel stuff thrown around. But Lifter LMS, one of our things and why we call ourselves an all-in-one solution is that we really have everything you need. You do not need a separate membership plugin. You don't have to use a separate e-commerce system. If you do want to use WooCommerce, that's okay. But all you need to do is sell the product, and we take care of the course and the membership and stuff. If you want to use WooCommerce subscriptions, you would need to do that. Like I said, if you have a recurring payment requirement and you want to use WooCommerce and not our system, you're going to need to figure that out with WooCommerce. And we do have support for WooCommerce and subscriptions or whatever, but now you're kind of in the WooCommerce ecosystem for your e-commerce. So I hope that answers your question, Clifton. If you have further thoughts on that, please email us and we'll see if we can get you sorted. Let's see. Christian asks, why Lifter LMS and not WooCommerce and Sensei? That's a great question. I've often said that an unbiased party, really needs to write an unbiased post about the different e-commerce LMS membership type systems out there, and really just the online course and LMS and membership site community. If you go to a website called the Membership Guys, they have a pretty good comparison chart that you get if you download. You opt in, you give them your email address, and they have these comparison charts for the different plugins out there. I haven't looked at Sensei recently, but or any of the other ones out there. But all I can say is that for us, we're really focusing in on that student, that learner experience, simplicity, making courses that matter, and really empowering the education entrepreneurs out there to easily deliver their training programs and blend in things like live streaming and or flipped classroom, blended learning type situations. So, but I would encourage you to try them both out. And we do have a 30-day, no questions asked, money back guarantee. So give us a try, give them a try, and I'd love to see someone like yourself write a blog post about it. Glenn asked, what kind of courses will we be able to import, or has development not ready for that yet? Lifter LMS does not have an import functionality or export functionality right now. It is something we're thinking about for the future.
It's actually something I've already started working on, but I always say it's very complicated, and it's just a matter of me sitting down and having enough time to write the code. It's very, very important for us to get imports and exports out there. If anybody wants to take a look at what I'm working on, it's up at GitHub called Scaffolding for the developers that want to nerd out on it. But it'll be available as soon as it's ready. It's one of our top priorities, and we were not able to push it into this big release. So.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Thomas. And also to Glenn's question of what kind of courses we'll be able to import, there's also other third-party development resources, another company working on course content from things like Storyline, Captivate, Lectora, and that is like Tin Can API compatible stuff. That is another developer is working on that stuff. So we'll let you know as soon as we have any new information on that. But at the end of the day, we also encourage, we're big proponents of encouraging other companies to build and extend Lifter LMS and build businesses around that. And add more value by creating new products. So let's see. A question from John. What about purchasing a package of courses? Say we taught courses on PHP, courses on WordPress, courses on JavaScript in a universal everything course package. Totally possible with the Lifter LMS access plans. You could have single course pricing, and then you would have a membership, an access that would give you access to all the courses. So whatever pricing model you can come up with or think about related to that, that is a great example of why the new Lifter LMS access plans and the whole system behind that is there to serve you. Let's see, Mason Wheeler asked for the payment tables. Does it redirect to WooCommerce if we use that? So let me see if I can get an example up. If you want to talk about that, Thomas, a little bit.
Yeah.
Grab that example.
So all the access plan content and the payment plans are actually, we've had a lot of people that wanted to use WooCommerce subscriptions. So rather than trying to fudge our own content into WooCommerce products, we're actually going to give you, once you enable WooCommerce, you're going to rely 100% on WooCommerce products. And if you have subscriptions enabled, which I'm not sure you do here, Chris, you'll have some additional options for WooCommerce subscriptions. So what Chris is going to show you right now is that we actually kind of push over to WooCommerce. So, nope.
I may not have saved.
Yeah, maybe you need to save something. So as soon as you enable WooCommerce, you will relate the course to a WooCommerce product. And then once they're related, that pricing table will actually disappear in favor of a like a WooCommerce buy button. If anybody's kind of familiar with WooCommerce, has a short code to output a buy button. We're having some technical difficulties on this right now. This is always the difficulty with trying to present live. Chris is now in the shoes that I am very frequently a developer, which is like, I swear this works. I just don't know what's going on right now. So yeah, that's all correct. And then if you head over to the course, do you have WooCommerce enabled? You don't have WooCommerce
I don't think
activated.
so. I think that's my issue.
Yeah. Chris does not have WooCommerce activated.
There it is.
So anyway, you'll select the product, and then we're going to hand everything over from that point to WooCommerce. So in essence, you're not going to get the same exact payment table because the WooCommerce products don't have all the options that we're going to have there. But you'll see it's up at the top. You lost it way up at the top. You'll see that access plan thing went away, and you now have this WooCommerce selection. So you can select your course, your product. This goes for memberships too. You'll have the same interface. And then on the front end, you will now have a little button that links you over to the WooCommerce product as opposed to the pricing table with the access plans. So you'll see something along these lines. You'll add that to the cart, and then WooCommerce will take over from there.
Good deal. Thanks for putting me on the spot, Mason. I appreciate that. Let's see. Rick asks, there is one feature that I was missing and I hope you have included in here. As a state licensed continuing education, I am obligated to track name, address, and professional license number. And these details must be printed on the certificate. That would require some custom development to bring some custom data on a certificate. But that's not that, in my opinion, that's not that huge of an ask, but you would just need to run that by a WordPress developer, a Lifter LMS developer. And we have if you go to the docs and you search for Lifter LMS developers, you'll find all the development resources out there that could help you with that. But I do appreciate what you're saying and for what you need for your system. Sue says it seems like it might mess up your conversion analytics to use the product page as your sales page. That depends on your conversion analytics. You could tie, I'm not sure, I mean, there's all kinds of different things you could do to track conversion optimization and integrate analytics on a successful purchase and the path the user takes through your site. But you can set all that stuff up with Lifter LMS if you want to. But I don't know, maybe we could, if you want to chat about that live, we could bring you in the live Q&A for that. Sebastian asked for any plans to integrate with Zapier. That's always been a hot one for us. We know Zapier is cool because it can help you get to so many other places from here. So I wouldn't say it's on our immediate horizon. That's also, I think, if somebody out there listening who is a developer or is interested in experimenting with starting a product business, that might be an interesting one to take on, because I do get that request a lot, and I think it is a lot of opportunity. There is a lot of opportunity out there to connect your Lifter LMS site to other applications. John asks, can Lifter LMS management and billing feature be used to control and bill for access to other elements of a site, videos, for example, that are not part of courses? That's a great question, John, and the answer is absolutely. Lifter, you could have a regular page and restrict it to a membership. You could have a BB Press forum and restrict it to a membership. You could have a certain blog post that only members can see. So yeah, that's one of the cool things about Lifter LMS memberships, and another reason why you don't need another third-party membership plugin, because you can just protect all that stuff with Lifter LMS right away. So Alan asks, quick unrelated question. I've used the older version of Lifter LMS. Is there any way to move the course from one website to another and transfer the active students? We have upgraded our website to a new site, and we are now trying to move the students. Thanks. Migrations, the devil is always in the details. So what I would say to you there is that if you are trying to move people and you're doing it manually, you would just want to grab all the users and whatever they were enrolled in, get the users in the new system, and then Lifter LMS has a functionality where you can add up to 10 users at a time, I believe, to certain courses. Now, if you have a very large user base, you may want to pursue some programmatic solutions. But yeah, I'm not sure if I fully understand your question. Hit us up by email. I'd be happy to take that on and look at it, but just give us more information on exactly where you are and what you're trying to get to. Mikolai says, if I use the new WooCommerce extension and need to do a refund, will it do it in Lifter LMS too, like the Stripe or PayPal extension? If you're using, Thomas, maybe you could help me with that one. So someone's using the WooCommerce extension.
Yeah. So the other thing that may be a little hard to demo, but essentially what happens when Chris added that to the cart, the screen he's on right now, you are now in the WooCommerce checkout process. If you're unfamiliar with it, that's what it looks like. There's a shopping cart. You then go to the WooCommerce checkout screen, not our checkout screen. And at the conclusion of that, after the purchase was made, you would end up with a WooCommerce order, not a Lifter LMS order. So you're going to be completely in the WooCommerce kind of infrastructure in their system. So if you wanted to process a refund for an order purchase, for a course purchase through WooCommerce, you would do that through WooCommerce's methods. Again, I think all the Stripe, the Braintree, the PayPal, they all have very advanced feature sets, and I think they all have one-click refund buttons. We've integrated with them. Chris, if you want to can you hit your settings screen real quick for the WooCommerce integration? One of the issues we had in the past was that we didn't have a lot of transparency around what happened with the WooCommerce order. Sorry, go to the integrations tab so we can look at the WooCommerce settings. So here you have a set of order statuses of when to enroll students and a set of order statuses for when to unenroll a student. So as soon as a WooCommerce order that contains any products that are linked to Lifter LMS courses or membership reach this status, the customer will be automatically enrolled. And same thing for those 3 canceled, refunded, failed statuses. When those statuses are reached, the students will be automatically unenrolled. So these are just base settings. You can configure those. And there's a subset of settings too for subscriptions. So if you use WooCommerce subscriptions and have that installed, you'll have 2 additional settings for the subscription statuses that work exactly the same way as that. So hopefully that answers your question and possibly a couple others. There's also some documentation, if you hit our knowledge base, that just published last night about an upgrade to what's going on with our WooCommerce extension that outlines some of this in a little bit greater detail. I'll try to locate a link for that, and I'll throw it in the chat too.
Good deal. Thank you, Thomas, and thanks for your question, Nikolai. Omar asks, any changes about the engagements on Lifter LMS 3.0? And the answer to that one is no. Like this round of innovation was really around the e-commerce and the membership side. So the e-commerce system is pretty much just the same. Or the engagement system is pretty much just the same, but that is, you know, we are looking hard at the feature request board in Trello. So if there's a particular piece you're looking for or something that you're interested in, I'd love to see your vote on that.
I'll also note, Chris, that we always kind of consider Lifter LMS to have three major components, which is the kind of the LMS itself, the learning portion, the e-commerce side of things, which is the engine that powers that to let you guys make some money off your courses, and then engagements is the third one, right? Chris is the marketer here. I just write the code, so he knows these 3 points better than I do. Did I get that right?
There's 4. The membership is the other one, but it's fine.
Good. The membership. That's why don't put me on camera. But anyway, so this, like Chris said, this 3.0 update was a huge focus on that e-commerce portion. And we know that there's a lot of features that need to be improved around the LMS, the engagements portion. So our next, well, actually, we're going to try to get out of the habit of doing major overhauls. It takes 6 months worth of development. So we'll be releasing some incremental updates around engagements and the actual LMS features in the next quarter.
That's awesome. Thanks, Thomas. Technical question for Thomas from Nikolai. If I import my users database on my new Lifter site, is there a way to assign more than one user at a time to a course?
If I import my users database on a new, so I suppose the question is really the ever popular bulk enrollment. We do not currently have any bulk enrollment features, but we have significantly upgraded some internal APIs to allow enrollment. I've also already written kind of a bulk enrollment snippet. It's up on my GitHub account under gist somewhere. But if you want to send us an email or a support request, I could put you in the right direction on how to kind of do some testing or some hacky bulk enrollment. It is something that we're aware of and we'd like to include, but it did not come in Lifter LMS 3.0.
And I think that pretty much answers your question as well, John. Let's see. Eric asks, will there ever be a way to track multiple instructors and pay them commissions when someone purchases their course? That's a good question, Eric. So what we're talking about there is it's kind of like the Udemy clone or the Udemy type course marketplace functionality, where there might be if this was an instructor, maybe there's a second instructor, and you could set up commissions and payments, like money owed based on dollars spent on the course, and have that whole marketplace management system. That's something that you could absolutely do today, but you would need to pretty much manage that manually. So you could have different instructors on your courses. You could work out a different payment, royalty payments or whatever, but you would just need to do it all manually. In terms of having it all be automated with the software, as that's not anywhere in the immediate roadmap. But that's a good question. I do understand the desire to have that. Let's see. Following on my question about controlling content that is not course related, this is from John. Can we charge per use fees for the content and no fee for members of different levels? That's a good question on, not really on use, but what I would say is you can get really creative with your memberships. So for example, or in your access plans, one membership might give you access to some things, A, B, and C. Another membership will give you access to A, B, C, and D. Memberships, courses, and content can be in multiple memberships, and then you can set up access plans for those memberships. but you can't really bill based on behavior once they're inside the system, if that makes sense. So I'd love to send me an email, John. I'll see with a more detailed user story, and I'll see if I might be able to help you with that one. Philip, nope, we can't import CSVs yet. Kathy asks, for the certificates that require student info, professional license number, completion date, etc., can't we just put code similar to code first name? Yeah, so Kathy's talking about a merge field. So for example, if I were to go to, let's take a look at this one. This user has a certificate. Oh no, this user doesn't have a certificate. I can look at it in the back end. Engagements, certificates. So we have a certificate here, and don't judge me, I did not spend a lot of time polishing this to make it look pretty, but this, where it says Chris Badgett, this is first name, last name, and the current date, and those are merge fields. So if I'm editing that certificate, you can see where I have those in there, and you can see where the ones that we have available are down here. So site title, user login, first name, last name, email address, current date, and so on. And those can be used in the Lifter LMS email engagements as well. But what you need, the part where I was saying that you may need some custom development, is you need a way to figure out how to get a unique user ID that could then be merged into the certificate. The user in WordPress, I believe, has an ID that's not really visible. It's just used inside WordPress that you might be able to use. That would be like the quickest way I could think of. But you're just going to need a little custom development to figure that piece out. Let's see. Sue asked, does the Launchpad theme have the ability to set the default page template to include a sidebar, but also set the page template to full width as on a per page basis, like if you want a full width homepage on your site? That's a great question. You can see over here, let's just go to a page here. If I have a sample page, Launchpad, if you've ever used Genesis from back in the day, we have a similar thing where, yes, you can absolutely set your defaults, and then you can override it on a per page, per course, per lesson basis. And you can even hide the site title. That's such a popular request, we include a setting for that. Yeah, that is a Launchpad setting. That's not a Lifter LMS setting. That is a Launchpad setting. So John asks, is it possible for a customer to self-administer his or her user group, for example, a major Wall Street bank? Or would it be better to set up a separate site for large accounts? That's a great question, and one we get asked a lot in many different ways, which is, what if there's this middle management layer that has groups of, like an employer that has, you know, his employees inside certain courses, and that middle layer, that employer or manager, needs to just be able to view his students or her students' analytics and things like that. So we don't have that developed yet, but that's definitely a hot one that's very much on our radar in terms of bulking out the LMS side of things, and that could absolutely be custom developed for you too if you wanted a custom build. We've built similar things like that on top of Lifter LMS for clients who have very specific needs and need it to work in exactly a certain way for that layer of middle management, and then giving the administrator unique controls and things like that. Anything can be built with enough time and money and skills. So, but in terms of that coming into the core software, that would be a while. Cindy asks, I think I remember something about launch windows. Did this get into 3.0? Yes, it did. So let's take a quick look at that. If I go to edit this course, you will see in the general settings, or no, the restrictions rather, you've got all kinds of controls here. So if somebody's not allowed in, you can put a custom message. And what you're asking about is is right in here, these two things. So let me explain the difference. You can enable an enrollment period, which is the ability to buy or the ability to enroll in a free course. And you can set that a start and end date, and then, you know, put in the messages that display whether or not it's before or after that time. And then you can have a course time period, which means you could have a launch window and open up your site to sell the course of the membership during a certain range. And then your course can have a start and end date, which means the learner won't be able to get in until this date, and they're automatically going to be removed at this end date. So that's what those settings are, and those are located in the course options under restrictions. John Farrar asks, what tool is using ActiveCampaign to connect? That's called WP Fusion. And if somebody could just...
It's in the chat already, actually. Just a few moments ago, I threw it up there.
Cool. Is there BuddyPress integration? Yes, Lifter LMS has BuddyPress integration. Pretty much what it does is it uses the BuddyPress registration, and it adds courses to the user's profile. Sue asks, what's SCORM? Not looking for anything too fancy. Is there a way to redirect non-members to your sales page whenever they try to view protected content? It's a great question. SCORM is the predecessor to the Tin Can API, and I'm not going to get into that right now, but it's just like a different, it's more popular like in the e-learning side of things for creating SCORM compliant content. So to your question about redirects, if I go to a membership, and we're looking at this gold membership here.
It's a great picture.
Thank you. If anybody's looking for free, royalty-free images that are good for commercial use, I found this search tool called Libre Stock. Highly recommend it. You can find gold bars and things like that on there. Restrictions. Restricted access redirect. When a non-member attempts to access content restricted to this membership, I can keep them on the same page. I can redirect them to the membership page where it's for sale, or I could redirect them to a WordPress page on my site, or I could redirect them somewhere else to a custom URL. So, Sue, I hope that answers your question. John asks, so what did you say integrated now? I heard it, but had not written it down. It's called WP Fusion for ActiveCampaign. WP Fusion. Sue asks,
WPFusionPlugin.com.
Thanks, Thomas. Sue asks, I'd like to be able to redirect to a sales page when someone clicks on a locked module. If you're selling a membership, you can absolutely do that, and you'll just want to use that feature that I just showed. So I'd like to keep asking questions in the chat if you want, but if anybody would like to ask any questions or has anything you want to talk about and would like to go live here, can you please raise your hand in the Zoom software there? And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second so I can access everything. So
got John Van Slyke. You want me to promote some people, Chris, or are you going to?
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead, and I can keep screen sharing. Go ahead and bring John on. Hey, John.
You have to turn your audio on.
So while John's figuring out his audio, Zoom gives you a couple options. You can call in, or you can use the web audio. Let me see. I think I can. Can you unmute John? Thomas?
Oh, I can do it. I'm sorry, John. That was my job. He's sitting there yelling at us, isn't he?
How you doing, John?
I'm trying to get this thing figured out. Can you hear me, babes?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, cool.
Good to hear your voice. I've seen you in the written word, but never heard your voice. I don't
Yeah,
think.
there we go, man.
Yeah. Well, what's on your mind? What would you want to talk about?
Okay, thanks a lot. I sent an email before. Let's assume that your wildest hopes are realized. You start getting big customers. Now, like in our area, it might be some venture capital firm that wants to use our stuff for their portfolio companies, or it might be a portfolio company, or it might be a financial institution, or whatever it is. But what you're going to end up with is an account that has a wad of users out there.
Mm-hmm.
And what you want to do, I think, is to set up a relationship where the customer purchases a block of stuff. Like we'll buy 15 users or 20, and we may not use all of those, but at least we have that capacity available for our customers and our users. And we meaning us, Morgan Hall, we don't want anything with controlling those things, nor does the customer really want us controlling them. And whatever it would be, like confidentiality and stuff, and you won't copy our stuff, that would be in the user agreement that we would have with the customer. So now you have us that has the resources through Lifter LMS to do all these wonderful things. And then you have a large customer out there that has users, and they paid. They pay up front or per quarter or whatever it was. So what you're trying to do, my questions are really aimed at that kind of a problem where you want to set up capacity for an account like that to activate and deactivate its users, because some people may leave and they drop them off or whatever. And or the other situation would be where you have a coupon thing where anybody that's related to that company can come in. That one is a lot easier to solve from what I can see. So
I think I have some things just to interject in the conversation.
Yeah, let me just finish off my question because I'm almost there.
Go ahead.
Now, in looking at the system the way it is, I see a couple possibilities. One of them is to sort of set up some system of a user and then names or something like associated with it. And then the other one I see that probably makes more sense is just to install a separate version of this on a subdirectory.
Good. Is that it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
you want more? No.
No. I got it. I got you. And we get a similar variation of that. So if I was going to do that today, this is what I would do. And the next question that you didn't ask, which you could, is who owns the hosting environment of that, and how does the fee structure work or whatever. But we don't have to get into all that. Assume
that it's AWS or something like that. We buy it.
Okay.
Because the customer we deal with, they don't want anything to do other than getting a screen that works 100% all the time, and they don't want any, because we would be selling not into a technical group, but business people.
I got you. So I would use AWS or use WP Engine.
Yeah, whatever.
And set up a separate site for that big customer. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would use the Lifter LMS voucher system that already exists. So you're going to work out that deal with the business. Currently, you would have to work out that deal with the business like off the site, which is usually my experience how it works anyways. Like you may negotiate a 1,000-seat deal for this company and you may work out a totally different deal for that company. So it's not like as simple as having a drop-down menu or type in like how many seats you want. Although that's something we've thought about. But I would build them their own site, and then I would put my courses in there, and then I would use the voucher system. I would since I retain ownership of the hosting, because they want a hands-off. They just want the training material and the training to happen, and they want to be able to monitor it. I would give them a certain amount of voucher codes, and then I would work out in the current system, because you can't really just give that middle management layer of reporting access to the reporting. I would figure out whatever it is, reports that they need to see about who's activated, who hasn't, what are the progress of the users. Or I would do a small amount of custom development to figure out, to just develop a specific user role for my enterprise customers, analytics access, or just so they could get in and see analytics, but not necessarily start messing with the courses and things like that.
Well, that's a really good answer, because the one thing that we didn't talk about in the process, and then I'm going to shut up, is what happens if somebody wants to put their own content into their site, like one of these large companies.
Same.
Successes. And then that would certainly argue for setting them up on a separate thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would set them up on a separate thing, and then you can like brand it to them, like put their logo on it and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, if they want to start adding their own content, that just gets, again, kind of back into developing that custom user role where this person can see analytics and they can also access the course builder and start developing things. What we have now, we don't have like front end course creation.
Yeah.
So, but for now, somebody could come into the back and if you gave them permission, and then they could start adding a new course and start, building the course builder and adding content. And if you think about it, if they're non-technical people, that's why you want to do the user role thing. And you want to basically make all this stuff disappear except for the few things that you want them to be able to mess with. And then there's like view and edit permissions and things like that. So that's
bingo. Well, you got it. We also found that WordPress was just horrendous for content development and maintenance. So what we've done is we've figured out a way to go off to warehouse-based, HTML type sites, and then link to them from
in the lessons or whatever. Yeah.
Right. And that way you get, it's terrific, because you don't have to try to make WordPress do something that it's really not designed to do. So these have been very, very helpful, and we'd be happy to work with you to answer or discuss this question of managing large volume users, because it's like I said, if you win, you've got a happy high order problem.
Right. Well, I appreciate that, John, and thank you so much for the question.
You want to get John Farrar in here now, Chris?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Let me. Thank you again, John.
No problem.
And I just want to note, while Thomas is bringing in John Farrar, what the previous John said, it is really interesting, and there's a very smart member who's on the call right now, I believe Dennis Hall, who educated me to the fact that not only do we have a learning management system, but we also have a learning content management system, an LCMS, which what John was asking for was, he's more interested in the LMS, but he's going to do the content somewhere else. But you can do content in WordPress. He's just found a solution externally or whatever. But my hat's off to Dennis Hall for giving me that realization. Hi, John Farrar. How you doing?
Doing well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha. What's going on with you?
I have, a few years ago, I helped put together for a customer a homeschool learning site. And one of the things I found out doing that project was, if you bulk together all the homeschoolers in the US, it would be about the third largest state as far as the number of students.
Okay.
And when you consider the size of each school being small, you definitely have more schools in that group than any state.
Interesting.
So I'm looking at the possibility of getting into that market myself. 3 years out, and at the time I was looking to do more of a partnership, and I agreed to build it for them and not compete for a season. And I'm a couple of years past that, so I don't feel like I'm being a bad boy.
Okay.
And looking at what you guys have, and it is really close to either doing that by creating multi-sites, so each family would just come in, create their system, and that should be very viable. Of course, if I did that with you, because I'm a very give back, I like to pay it back, I would want to do something better than your universal deal, because that also helps you guys develop the stuff I'm using.
Absolutely. I mean, I really resonate with that. I'm part of that homeschooling, unschooling movement, and I see where you're coming from. And definitely I think that trend is just going to go up, and more people doing that, and they need resources. And
here's the flip side.
Yeah.
The reason I would be willing to practically give you back the entire subscription and stuff for that is I'm looking at a parallel market, and I've talked with a few people for about a year and a half about creating a system, and I've been watching yours, and that's part of why I held back.
Mm-hmm.
Of creating what I called an open learning server.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to draw an analogy so you can take it back to learning management. Let's say someone had a content management system and they wanted to put it out on the market, and they put plugins for it and themes for it, and the core system was basically free, but people could build commercial plugins and themes for it. We know that as WordPress. We know the model works. It's over a quarter of the internet.
Right.
Well, when it comes to a learning management system, what made WordPress take off was the content, whether it's created custom or shared, and the shared skin, the shared plugins. Well, what would make a learning management system take off? How about if we could package the courses and distribute them?
I see what you're saying. That's these are my favorite things to talk about.
I have a detailed marketing model that I researched for that basically doesn't, instead of a person controlling the market, it works open just like WordPress does. And if each person could create their own market, someone else can use their course and pay them commissions. So the course can be free. Like the gentleman we're talking about, here's my company. What if you want to set up a company site and sell courses to the company? I would love to talk with you more about this.
That's cool. Well, let's continue that conversation, John. Send me an email to team@LifterLMS. I know I've seen your name before, and we can continue the conversation.
Hopefully, it's in good context.
Yeah, and just one note, I just want to note on something you did mention is currently Lifter LMS is not officially multi-site compatible. Is that, when you said multi-site, were you referring to the Lifter LMS or the WordPress multi-site?
Yes, that was one way to approach it, correct.
Yeah, we're not officially compatible with that, but it's something where, it's, as you've seen on our feature request board, it's quite massive. And,
well, with Lifter LMS being where it already is, I notice a lot of things you have to have traction on the on-go to do a Kickstarter. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So, but you already have a full LMS, and if we were doing something like an open learning server, you already have a basic package that is open.
Yeah.
That just might be something we could get some traction on.
That's really cool. But yeah, I'll be in touch, and let's continue the conversation on that. That's
Tom wants to spend more hours a day coding anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys just need to tell me what to build. But as you can see by the feature request board, there's about probably 70 or 80 things to build. So,
and Thomas, I have 3 tech books on the market by Pact. I've been a programmer for about 20 years, so but I'm actually inside harassing you.
I can tell.
Yeah. That's it. I'll send an email to team@lifterlms.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you, John, and thanks for coming on and sharing that.
Cool. Thank you, John. Let's get Philip. I'm not going to try to butcher your last name, DeTulio. I did try. Let's get him over here. I'm doing this right? Yep. Hello, Philip.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Welcome.
Well, I'm kind of probably the end user, not the programmer. I've been selling courses and giving courses on a specific topic for over 11 years. I've used Etude, Moodle, Schoology, Canvas, and I think where e-learning has come has really outgrown all that stuff. So, and I only saw you guys probably about a week or so ago. One quick note from the last person is, I guess you could do something like create a multi-site per, which not using Lifter. Create a multi-site skin and go back, link back into the courses that you wanted. I mean, that's one workaround. Anyway, so I'm all my stuff is SCORM, and I understand that I have to bring the stuff in by hand, and I mean the format is beautiful and definitely going to go for my target audience. I teach music composing, but I'm trying to figure out a couple of things. So I do a weekly online lecture that's free. I used to use this thing called WizIQ. Now I'm using Google Hangouts, and WizIQ used to be able to embed into my course. Is that something that you guys might be able to do?
So if you can embed anything in a WordPress post or page, you can put it in a Lifter LMS lesson. And one thing that people do is, for example, like this software we're using right now, Zoom, you could, like, in a lesson, have the Zoom details for the live piece, and then you would be using that external. You could have a calendar. You could talk about when it is, how to log in the lesson, when it is, and then you would actually use this third-party service. So I actually have a podcast episode out there. If you guys haven't listened to LMS Cast, it's at podcast.lifterlms.com. And there's a debate between all-in-one. I know what we say, we're an all-in-one learning management system, membership site, and online course solution. But there are times when it makes sense to integrate with third parties, whether that's at the authoring level, like for using some other course or lesson authoring tool, or for like the live interaction piece or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing the types of things that you can embed into WordPress. So as long as it has like an embeddable aspect to it, you can stick it in a Lifter LMS lesson. Or if you're using memberships and you protect a page, that has like, this is our live Hangout room, and you embed a Google Hangout in there or whatever, and it's only available to people who have purchased those memberships, you can absolutely do that sort of thing. So I don't know if I completely answered your question, but am I heading in the right direction?
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is, with other LMSs, I'm able to, and you guys might be able to do this, like link glossary terms and or link to wiki things, so that while they're taking the course, they can expand on what they're. Like I said, I've only been looking at Lifter for the last week, so I'm not sure of all the details that it can do. But that was something that I do, and I was wondering if it's something that I could do with Lifter also.
Yeah, like I'm inside the back end of I'm sharing my screen in the Lifter LMS lesson, and you can see I've got a video here, but I could also put external links to, more resources, and
I'm kind of talking about, like, when you link a term that would go to like a glossary definition or something.
On your website or somewhere else?
Okay, so say I have this lesson, and there's a term that someone might not understand. I have a have a separate glossary. They can, so it looks like a link.
Yeah.
When they hover over it, they can find out what the definition is, or it kind of goes to my glossary. Does that make sense?
That does. There's a ton of different ways to do that. You could do that. That's the beauty of WordPress is you can extend functionality. So I think what you're talking about, like if you want to have it's called a tooltip pop-up.
Yeah.
You could either program it or find a plugin to do that. So for example, here you can see, let me go back to my incognito window here. You can see when I hover over these lessons, there's these tooltips that say you could do exactly the same thing with certain words inside a lesson, and you could have like the definition in there. You would just need to invest in that. There's also this sidebar widget area here. So there's a sidebar for lessons and courses. So if you wanted to add another widget called glossary, and it had like a link to the glossary, and it could have, it's like you can add all kinds of things to the sidebars is what I'm saying.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry for being newbie wise, but
no worries.
The other thing is I missed the universal bundle thing. Is that going to be someplace so I can figure out what's offered?
Yeah, that's it. LifterLMS.com. I can go to that. That's our main website. And we actually just released a new, we're going to have a pricing page that goes up. You'll see it show up on the main menu, and that'll explain everything in more detail. But if you go to LifterLMS.com and click on add-ons, you will see the Universe bundle here. And that talks about everything that's included in it.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, thanks for coming on, Philip. Do we have another one there?
Yep, thank you.
Cool. At this moment, we don't have anybody with their hand up. We do have 2 more questions open at the moment. Chris, do you see those? Sue had one. You want me to read that?
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah. If you add a new course to an existing membership, do members who previously purchased the membership get access to the new course? That's a great question. And the answer is yes. And you can also set it up to like auto enroll. So if let's say I have 3 courses and I can buy them individually, or I could get access to all of them through the membership, you can auto enroll. But let's say you have 1,000 courses and you don't want 1,000 courses to immediately show up on the dashboard of the student. They could then manually enroll themselves in whichever ones since they purchased that membership. So Mason asked, does the redirect work for WooCommerce subscriptions?
We already answered that. Yeah, I believe that I answered in chat a while ago. I forget the context of that, but I believe we were looking at the course restriction options, and those all still apply when you're using WooCommerce. Cool.
And Nikolai asks, do you plan or do you know any initiative to integrate Mautic directly into Lifter LMS instead of having to use Mautic Commerce and with WooCommerce? I have to admit, I have no idea what Mautic is.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It looks like it's some kind of e-commerce. What would it say? It's like a marketing automation system. I can't tell if it's built on top of WordPress or if it's a third-party platform or not. But I would just say it's not something we currently have on our radar. As you can obviously tell, neither Chris or I have ever heard of it before. But that doesn't mean that we'll never have an integration with it. So the answer is no, we do not have a plan, but that doesn't mean we can't have a plan. So if you would just send us a feature request for it. I kind of intake all the feature requests. I like to have some small conversations with people from time to time, especially on things that I've never heard of, kind of discussing the use case. So if you'd like to, Nikolai, we could talk about it a little bit more here, or you can just go to lifterlms.com/contact. Send me a feature request about it through that contact form there, and we'll discuss it via email a little bit further and get it added to our public roadmap. But
awesome.
Thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Good deal. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming.
Sorry, Chris. Yeah. We're not done yet, though. We do have a couple more questions, unless you're trying to wrap it up as a hard stop.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, there's a couple more open questions, and then John put his hand up to get back on to chat a little bit more. So you want to look at the open questions real quick and get through these?
Yeah, let's do it. Do you mind reading them off? I can't screen share.
Yeah. So let's see. Sue asks, oh, wait, maybe she's just responding. She's actually just responding, so thank you for the response, Sue. Clifton asks, is there a way to make lessons collapsible in the main course page for people that have really large numbers of lessons? I believe what you're looking for is that we have the collapsible sidebar widget, but we do not have a collapsible, the output, the main output, if you scroll down the screen a little bit more, Chris, the actual syllabus on the course page, not there. Yeah, so that's collapsible, but the main area is not collapsible. That's actually something that I've never even considered before. So we'll take a look at that and potentially add that same collapsible functionality to the main syllabus in the future. Thanks for bringing that up, Clifton. Dennis says that Mautic, I assume, is a Quebec-based e-commerce online payment system. Am I getting that right, Dennis? Is that what you're talking about? He developed a WordPress plugin for it. Let's see, Nickel, I might be mispronouncing that, and I apologize. Can we change the login screen when the person logs in for the first time to give them a walkthrough? Whew, that's an interesting question, Chris. You have an answer to that?
Well, we've actually just added a quick setup wizard. If you look at it, so the answer is,
well, that's going to be for Lifter LMS. I believe Nickel is looking for something for his students, not for his administrators.
Oh no, I'm just giving an example. So we have this like setup wizard that helps people. So go check this out. And this just helps provide a better user experience and get people going, building their first course. But if you wanted to have a like a walkthrough, I would recommend just having a really good introductory lesson as your first lesson in your course. And if you kind of want to force, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, it depends on the situation, but if you want to force people to go through your walkthrough lesson before they can open up other lessons, you could use the prerequisite system or even the drip content system in Lifter LMS to help achieve that goal. Let's see.
Okay, last one, and then we'll get to you, John. Michael Spencer asks, what is the best place to access a tutorial for building LMS courses using membership functions? Currently, my courses are sold individually, and I would like to create membership levels.
So we have the Lifter LMS demo course over here at demo.lifterlms, and this walks you through really how to use the system. You can also go to the documentation. So if you go to the Lifter LMS website, the main things you need are going to be up here at the top. But down here at the bottom, you can see knowledge base and FAQs. So come into here, and you can find documentation here as well. So try the Lifter LMS demo, and also check out the documentation. And if anybody out there absolutely loves writing documentation and stuff like that, reach out to me. I'm always looking for resources in that department. So welcome back, John.
A couple of comments. First, one of the things that's really, that I see that's really appealing is this integration of the LMS with the billing and control area of the sites. We've spent several $1,000s looking at pretty much all the usual suspects out there, including, WooCommerce, Woo subscriptions. There's a nice service called MemberMouse. There's Membership Pro, and Membership 2, you go on down the list. And so one of the really nice things here is that it's integrated into one system, which I look at as more of a content management system, which is what the whole thing is, with an LMS component in it, which is very powerful. Now, the key thing is really ease of use and getting into it. Now, as I understand this currently, in order to build a course, you've got to go into the dashboard area and do all this stuff. Now, with LearnDash, there's what the heck's the company? Wisdom something or other. Guys
Wisdom
over
Labs.
in India. Huh?
Wisdom Labs.
Yeah, they do really good stuff, and they have a kind of a 4GL or a meta product that slips in over the top of LearnDash that
For front end course creation or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a thought here. Now, my real question is, do you have any incompatibilities, or if you had anybody test this or do any work with these visual drag and drop page designers like Thrive, like Beaver Builder, and so on? Have you had any problems with that, or can you use those with Lifter LMS and the Launchpad?
You've actually touched on one of my favorite combinations, which is Lifter LMS as a plugin plus the Launchpad theme plus the Beaver Builder page builder plugin.
That's really what I was at. Yeah,
that is a magic combination. Beaver Builder is by far, in our experience, the top page builder out there on the market today. And so it's Launchpad. What it does is it gives you all that design control over the Lifter LMS elements, but then Beaver Builder allows you to come in, you can turn it on for the Lifter LMS course and lesson post types, and you can really trick out your templates. And if you want to build a really fancy homepage that's not necessarily about the courses, or you want to drop the courses in like this right here with inside of a Beaver Builder template with the Lifter LMS shortcodes, you can do that. And you can create some really amazing looking sites in that way. Right.
That's when I looked at what you've done, I said, I came to the same conclusion that you did about the secret sauce being the combination of those three things. I'm still unclear. I'm sorry to sound like a dope on this, but we have, I don't know, we have PayPal, we have commerce, we've got everything.
Yeah.
With Lifter LMS, do I need all that stuff? Yes, no?
It depends on your goals. So
I'm not selling, say right now, I'm not selling out of the United States.
If you're not selling out of the United States, then I would, are you selling one-off courses, or are you negotiating everything off-site, like with checks from companies and stuff like that?
No. The first site, the first major rev up is a general course that you can come to and learn everything that nobody tells you about business, that kind of thing.
Oh,
that's a standard site, and it not only has programs, but it has links to resources. I mean, all kinds of stuff. But it has different levels, so that, that for instance, there's an individual level, a business area, and then a professional level that combines the two, and an institute level that does that, plus economics and a whole bunch of other things.
That's awesome. In that case,
that's what it is. Yeah.
In that case, like nobody needs like everything here. Like, for example, if you're going to use WooCommerce, you don't need Lifter LMS Stripe. But and Lifter LMS by itself is fully functional with that manual payment gateway that we were looking at earlier to create, sell, and protect online courses. In your example,
I like what you guys have in terms of the flow and functionality of Lifter LMS. So my question really is, do I need to hook up WooCommerce, or what do I need? When I get finished, I'm going to buy the group. The major package in the sky.
All right. Well, I appreciate
what I'd like to do, what I want this to do is just run. I mean, business. So what do we need? What do we absolutely need to do this? And I noticed you had a couple of other plugins like Gravity Forms and some other things, but but what do we really need to just go?
Gotcha. So first I would just say that we created WooCommerce integration because it was important to some people, and they have their own ecosystem, like for a payment gateway that works well in South Africa or the Netherlands.
Right.
So, but if you're just selling in the US, and what I would highly recommend for the more the power user who's ready to hit it hard but not have anything extra is go with Lifter LMS by itself plus Stripe. If you want to add PayPal, add PayPal, like add the Lifter LMS Stripe.
Right.
Use the Launchpad theme. And like you mentioned, and this isn't ours, and I 100% recommend it and endorse it, and we've used it on projects, is the Beaver Builder plugin.
Yep.
And then Lifter LMS Pro is going to give you, which comes with it, that's going to give you access to our private support channels, which is always a good thing to have. And then the other stuff, it just depends. Like, are you focused on trying to build an email list and do more advanced email marketing? You might want to look at MailChimp or ConvertKit. If you want
at this point, it's really secondary because we can handle that stuff. We've got an enormous amount of content. We're just trying to get the thing to run. You know, get through this massive bow wave of themes, and you know, as I said, thousands of dollars have been and time has been invested, and what I see here is sort of the answer to a maiden's prayer.
Okay. Well, let me just take it from the top, right? Okay.
Sure.
And this is just, and you may already know some of this, but just for the benefit of everybody. If I was going to hit it hard like you're talking about and launch a project in the United States, and I wanted to really, go serious at my launch, I would, you're going to need a domain name. You're going to need web hosting. I really recommend WP Engine these days.
Yep.
And their staging environments and everything. There's a lot of great things about WP Engine. They're not the cheapest, but they're definitely really good for sites, and they can scale with you quite well. You need the free Lifter LMS, Lifter LMS Pro, Lifter LMS Stripe, the Beaver Builder plugin, and you're good to go. And then, we have these like setup services or whatever, but it sounds like you don't need that. If you're implementing it yourself or you have a team, those are the pieces that you need to get going and get launched.
We've tried. We have a design, and we tried it against probably 30 different themes and some other stuff. So everybody has, all these themes have various pluses and minuses. But the key thing here that I see in your approach is you've been able to really integrate the LMS stuff and this other stuff to a very easy, seamless experience for the customer. I don't know anybody else that's done this the way you have.
Well, we appreciate that. We've tried very hard, so thank you for those words.
It's very clear.
Good deal.
I'm out. I'll be going, man.
All right. Well, thank you, John.
Okay.
It looks like I have a typo in our plugin. If anybody is getting a 404, it's because Lifter LSM does not exist, and I'm an idiot. If you could just update that to LifterLMS.com, as I just put. I actually have no way of fixing that. It's a typo in the plugin code base itself, and I need to buy that domain in order to fix that issue, or go back in time. So that's unfortunate. But thank you for pointing that out, Mason. We have a couple more. Oh, okay. Wow, thank God. That's better. Mason, I'm not seeing. Oh, I am seeing a 404 now. Upgrading to Lifter LMS. Oh, I see. All right, I'll set up a redirect on that. That's a lot easier to do. Here, Mason, I just threw the actual URL in there. I'll throw a redirect on that bad URL in a moment. But thank you very much for pointing it out, and I'm very happy that I didn't make a typo there. Let's see, we've got a couple more questions over here, Chris. So you want to? Sure. I'll read them off to you. You want to go through some of these? So sure. Sue asks, could you give me a couple examples of how people are using ConvertKit tags with Lifter LMS? She also notes that maybe we could send her some more info on that in the future. But I'm sure you have a couple examples off the top of your head that you could throw out there.
Yeah, definitely. The way people use ConvertKit and tagging is mostly the first level of dealing with that is for segmentation purposes. So when someone joins and first registers on your site, you're adding them to your CRM, and you could start some kind of general welcome automation. And then what people are doing is once people purchase a particular course or enroll in a particular free course, a new tag is applied and a sequence can be triggered. And what a lot of people are doing is just nurture sequences that are designed to encourage them to stay with the program. I talk about it a lot in the podcast, the dirty little secret of membership sites in this e-learning industry. I heard somewhere, I can't remember the exact figure, but something around 10% completion rate on paid online courses. So if you're going to do fancier engagement with ConvertKit, focusing on that goal of automations and sequences and follow-up sequences that keep people engaged. The other thing people do with it a lot is from a sales perspective. If I have a free course, I can set up a campaign where I'm trying to get people from my free course into my paid course or paid membership, so that I'm tagged one way if I'm in the free course, and then I'm tagged another way once I buy something. So then you can build a campaign designed to either nurture someone into a sale or a conversion, or perhaps encourage them to go through an application process if you're invite only into your membership or your courses. So those are just some examples, but we could geek out forever on that one. There's a lot you can do to increase marketing automation and add engagement through systems like ConvertKit. It also has, I believe, text messaging in there, so you can think about that. Think about pulling in text messaging, or think about notifying somebody when a new member joins, and then you have a whole process that gets built off of that. So a lot you can do there. So thanks for the question.
Cool. Mason, we found your issue. Sue has another question. Is the benefit of WooCommerce that you have a shopping cart where you can add multiple products to checkout? For example, if they purchased a course membership, a physical workbook, and a digital download, we email them. And I could take that actually. Yes, absolutely. That's one of the advantages of WooCommerce. And we find that the people that are most likely to use WooCommerce are also selling physical products or digital downloads that are not exclusive related to or exclusively a course and or membership. And one of the other huge benefits too is that WooCommerce has a huge infrastructure. It's very, very mature. They have an extension for almost any payment, probably every payment gateway that you could pull off the internet at this moment. So if you're looking, a lot of our international users prefer WooCommerce because they have the international gateways that we haven't developed yet. Anything else you want to add to that, Chris?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and then I would say if you do want to use Lifter LMS, the Lifter LMS e-commerce system is it's really built for selling courses and memberships. But if you want to sell a membership that also includes some other benefit that's not really course related, perhaps it's an ebook or something, you can always put that stuff inside of a Lifter LMS lesson where it will be protected, or on a membership protected page that has certain things in it. So you can, in some ways, you can sell things that are outside of the system through Lifter LMS. But yeah, that's and then what I also see people doing something else where they'll put up Lifter on a subdomain. So it'll be like school.mywebsite.com or academy.mywebsite.com, or a separate URL, and they'll sell through their main. They may sell access through their main site, which happens to have WooCommerce, but then they actually fulfill the online course, and the school actually exists on a separate website. So Nikhil asks, is there a way to redirect people to some other page after they log in instead of sending them to my courses page? I want to take them to my custom dashboard. You want to take that one, Thomas?
We do have we don't have any setting for that, but if you want to send us an email, open a support request, post in the forums, I can hit you up with the filter that you can use to hijack that redirect.
Yeah.
I don't know it off the top of my head. It's code, sorry.
Yeah. And if maybe you could touch on that briefly, Thomas, the Lifter LMS is built to be like easy to use. Like John was saying, there's a lot of power there, a lot of simplicity, you know, for the non-technical person that you can do things. But if you are more of a developer, you want to hire a developer to do something technical or to customize and extend Lifter beyond what it already does, it's built in such a way that it's highly extendable. Could you touch on that a little bit, Thomas, in terms of what a developer could do, a good developer could do with Lifter LMS?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons. I mean, you can go anywhere from just the visual to actually, you know, building a full-on plugin like WP Fusion, for example. Well, WP Fusion is maybe not a great example because it's not built entirely for Lifter LMS. But yeah, I mean, the thing we like about WordPress and why we've gone with a WordPress plugin as opposed to a hosted platform like Teachable, for example, has a lot to do with the open source nature of the community and the extendability of the plugin. I mean, really, the sky's the limit. We're slow to get all of our documentation actually documented because we have a small team. You're dealing with the team on this webinar right now, and developer documentation is the last thing I get to in my day after I do all the how-to guides and Chris records all the demo videos. But if you are a developer and you want to contribute and participate, the entire plugin is like very, very thoroughly documented inline. I always, you know, I've been working with WooCommerce for years and years and years, and I don't go looking for documentation on WooCommerce. I open up the plugin, I do Command F for what I'm looking for, and read through the code and read their inline documentation. So that's what I'd recommend doing if you want to start customizing Lifter LMS. But yeah, I mean, it goes from as simple as a redirect to changing text. Just about like all the content in Lifter LMS. If you don't like the text, you can use filters to change the text of buttons or links or titles and content like that. You can use actions to remove or add content to the course catalog or to the course page itself. You know, we've added some meta information like tags and categories. And if you decide, you know what, I don't want those, literally one line of code added to a custom theme or to your child theme or custom plugin could modify that from the visual side. Yeah, I mean, when you get really nitty gritty, I mean, if you think about our add-ons are essentially, they work with our own APIs. So the Stripe gateway, for example, just uses the core Lifter LMS APIs in order to facilitate payments. So there's all that kind of stuff too. So
awesome. Well, thank you.
I could talk about that forever. If anybody really wants me to talk about that for a long time, let's do a different webinar.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. And if you're watching this on the replay, thanks for checking it out and hanging in there to the end. And just to close out this launch party webinar, this is the launch party week. So everything on the Lifter LMS website through Monday night of next week is discounted by 10%. So it's a good opportunity to lock in that pricing forever. And if you are a Lifter LMS Pro customer, you also received a coupon where you can use that as well. But I'd encourage you to take advantage of the Lifter LMS launch party week. And I want to thank you for coming on this webinar. And I'd like to do more of these and get into really specific niche topics about certain things, or how to use Lifter in certain industries, or how to do really specialized things like create degree programs, or do a presentation on pricing models or whatever. If you guys want a specific webinar focused on a specific topic, please send an email to team@lifterlms.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And again, thank you for coming and enjoying and celebrating the launch of Lifter LMS 3.0 with us. And my call to action to you is, if you're getting ready to start moving forward to Lifter LMS 3.0 is to go to blog.lifterlms.com and read our release post. It gives you all the information, kind of gets you oriented with the lay of the land. So again, go to blog.lifterlms.com. And thank you for coming again. And thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Kathy. And thank you, everybody who piped in with questions and came on there live, and everybody out there listening. And enjoy Lifter LMS 3.0 and have a great rest of your day.